Good morning, everyone. Here's your Eastern Idaho weather and hazard briefing for Saturday, December 5th. We are looking at dry weather pretty much continuing until at least the middle part of next week, although there's a couple of lows moving through, or at least trying to move through, that may weaken the inversions. Not necessarily even looking at precipitation if we even get that to happen. We do have, with the pretty stagnant air in place, some potential air quality issues coming up, although things not really necessarily rapidly changing yet with that. And maybe by this time next week, we might have a major pattern change coming up. We'll just have to see how things evolve. We'll talk about that here as we get on through the briefing. Satellite loop this morning, it's really interesting. We talked about a couple of weak lows. There's one that's pretty much over eastern Oregon, far western Idaho, and the only way you can see that is a little bit of that cloud cover over southwestern Idaho extending up into the central mountains. Not expecting any rain or snow with that for today, and that system actually will be absorbed by this incoming system that's moving towards the coast. That low may not even make it in here for Sunday into Monday. So a lot of interesting things trying to take place with that ridge that's pretty much overhead right now as we speak. Now, minimal impact so far with valley inversions and air stagnation. It may be a case of some of the bigger valleys like the Snake Plain, the Magic Valley, may not see much in the way of air quality issues, mainly falling into some of the smaller valleys down around the Cache Valley and Preston. That is an example, up in the Stanley Basin, up towards Salmon as well. Have to see how things go and how long high pressure holds into place. You'll notice by Wednesday we have a weak system coming through. That may come through Wednesday. It may come through on Thursday. Out ahead of that, we'll continue to see some inversion conditions and potential air quality, air stagnation issues. But at least for now with the going forecast, it does look like we do have the potential, at least for some light rain or mainly light snow showers probably in this case, over the eastern highlands up into the central mountains as well, also up into Lemhi County. Not a lot going on for now. Just have to see how quickly that storm system moves into our area. So, taking a look at how things are going to go over the next few days, you'll notice that high pressure will eventually kind of get squeezed a little bit to the east, not completely though. There's that low being absorbed by the incoming storm out in the Pacific right now, and you'll notice as we go into Sunday, that low gets into eastern Oregon and all of a sudden takes a just dead in its tracks, it stops and then heads off to the south as we go into Monday and into Tuesday. There are some indications that maybe that low could get a little farther to the east into southwestern Idaho. That's not necessarily the most likely scenario. Even if that happens, it's going to just produce some more cloud cover over the area, especially farther west, and really probably not even weaken the inversions that much, although a little bit weaker inversions could mean at least a temporary reprieve from any building air quality issues across our area. We'll skip ahead to Wednesday. This is one model this is the one that brings that low wind coming in on Wednesday, that next storm. It actually, a lot of the data wants to hold off until either later Wednesday into Thursday. Now, here's where things get interesting. This particular model says we have this huge area of low pressure settling in by the end of next week into next weekend, and that is definitely a potential idea that's coming our way for a change in the weather pattern. Some of the other extended weather data keeps that low well off to the north and to the east, and we just get clipped by these systems, creating a little bit of wind, which can mix out the inversions, and maybe some showers up in the mountains. But right now, it's going to take a lot at this point to really change our weather pattern, at least get us out of the stronger inversion conditions developing across central and eastern Idaho. So for today, temperatures running in the 30s and 40s in the lower elevations. Once you get into the southern highlands, also into the Magic Valley where we have the down valley wind kind of keeping things stirred up, temperatures in the mid-40s this afternoon. Stanley right now just has had a lot of trouble in these conditions breaking out and warming up. So temperatures not quite as warm in the Stanley Basin, it looks like, for today at least. We'll have to keep an eye on that because sometimes it just takes one little extra little push of wind or a little bit of mixing to break out of those inversions in some of these cases. For tonight, it's going to be a chilly one where we're strongly under the inversions. It's going to be in the single digits and teens, below zero in the Stanley Basin, also up around Copper Basin. As you get down towards Burley and Oakley, we're talking about 15 to 25 degrees for the overnight lows by the time you get up tomorrow morning. For tomorrow afternoon, we start to see a little bit of a change. It's a little cooler in the upper Snake Plain, definitely, and the temperatures well into the closer to freezing. You get where it's a little warmer. We're already at 40 to 45 degrees for tomorrow afternoon. And we continue to watch these things back and forth where we're strongly under the inversion, single digits above to single digits below zero. Outside of that, where we get a little bit of mixing, we're talking about 15, 20 degrees, maybe 20 to 25 degrees. And it's even a little cooler on Monday. It looks like once that low, however it moves, scoots by, high pressure builds in rather quickly across the area. And that kind of really may be the point we see our strongest inversion conditions. Again, similar pattern continuing across the area. As we go into Tuesday, we might see just a slight warm-up across the area into Wednesday as well. We'll have to definitely see how things go. By the time we get to at least Thursday, if that system holds off to Thursday, we're going to start cooling back down again across the area, and that will continue into Friday. So like we said, it's going to be dry. We're not looking at any precipitation until at least the middle part of next week. We might see a little bit of weaker inversion conditions depending on how a couple of areas of low pressure move through in the next 48 hours or so. Otherwise, air stagnation, air quality issues until a potential weather change comes for the end of next week if we can get the pattern to change enough and shift far enough to the south. All right, everyone, have a great Saturday and stay safe out there, everyone.